Audio on demand from Vision Christian Media.
Exploring faith and the future. Neil Johnson and Bible teacher Dr. Kameel Majdali.
We've been taking time to dissect what we call the culture war, where some would call themselves or would place themselves on a progressive side, and others would say that we are conservative. We were talking about conservatives in our last program, Kameel, and talking about the differences in morality, what it is that is conservative morality, or what it is that makes the conservative look to being a whole person. What else can we look at so far as the differences that make conservatives a little different to progressives?
One of the major differences between the two sides, between the left and the right, the progressives/liberals and the conservatives, is the view of government. Whereas progressives view government as the answer to providing equality and opportunity and taking care of needs and fighting discrimination and so on. Conservatives believe in limited government. And that certainly was the principle of the American Constitution, that American people are to be self-governing people. Therefore, their actual government will be small because they, as the people, are running the show, so to speak. Limited government views things like defense, maybe infrastructure, and keeping the laws, or in other words, protecting people through the police force, things of that sort, but not having government involved in all aspects of life as the progressive vision entails.
Is it the case that if you've got government involved in all aspects of life, then you really have a recipe of control and control over people?
Well, there's another word for it, and it's a pretty strong term, but when government is everything and everywhere, almost like God himself, then we call that totalitarianism. Totalitarianism is all-encompassing government. And while we do believe in government, and I believe the Bible teaches in government, and that we are to obey government, nowhere does it say government has to be all in all. In fact, from a conservative point of view, the government that governs best is the one that governs least. And contrast the view of, say, a Barack Obama, a progressive, who believed the government was the solution, to a conservative, a classic one like Ronald Reagan, who often said the government, meaning big government, is actually part of the problem.
Kameel, we might think of that big government, though, as acting in our favour when we think of safety and security, because we're being looked after by the government. But that's not always a good thing for the way we look at freedom.
Well, if we want government to protect our human rights, protect our persons, protect our borders, then I think we can all agree that's a wonderful thing. But when we're looking to the government to provide for all our needs and to bring equality and to create special rights for special people, then that goes beyond the normal governmental mandate. For example, government is involved with arts, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but what does government know about arts? What does government know about education? I used to run a Bible school, and I can tell you, governments don't know anything about theological education and ministry training. But that didn't stop them from getting involved. And look, with some cooperation from the colleges too, there was a little bit of incentive monetarily, off study and the like. But we have to ask ourselves the question, while we're still yet self-governing, how big of a government do we need and should we have?
Faith and the Future with Neil Johnson and Dr. Kameel Majdali from Teach All Nations. Find articles, videos and podcasts from Dr. Kameel, plus today's and other episodes of Faith and the Future in the Vision app or at vision.org.au.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.